Welcome to Salento with Love. I'm Davide Mengoli, and also welcome to House of Dreams. Now, this is a real dream. Can you see the background? This is not a AI, no artificial here. This is really the beautiful Ionian Sea with a coastline opening up in the background. And we are in the historic town of Gallipoli, one of the most important center of commerce in the 14th, 15th and 16th and 17th century, until electricity came and changed the world, or I would probably like to think oil. Anyway, we're not talking about history, but I did talk about history in the past about the city of Gallipoli. In this house, it's really an incredible piece of history embedded in the centro storico. It comes with all the challenges when you're refurbishing a property in Italy. If you are in one of those tight centro storico with all those little roads, or maybe on the top of a hill, well, it comes with those challenges. And we've overcome a lot of those challenges, and happy to say that we are doing a fantastic job here in turning this into a real dream. But would you like to go on site and see more? Come with me.
Questo sì. Ti trovi il salto, no?
We are in Gallipoli now. The day is not over yet, but we're here to look at another site and making sure that we can get the electrical system aligned and ready for a beautiful refurb here in the special city of Gallipoli. So we're here. Actually, I was here last night and again, but aligning all of the different stages, going from the plumbing, the electrics, the builders, the tiling, the leveling, the plastering, the painting. It requires a huge amount of work when you want to do it and bring it all together. That's exactly what we're doing here. So let's concentrate. Designing your lights internally and the functionality of a house is very important, but equally when you have an outside space as beautiful as this, you want to spend a little bit of time thinking on how you're going to make this space also functional and at the same time beautiful. Truly magical. Well, it is Friday night. Amazing how busy everyone is. I'm probably a little bit on the dark. You can probably see me, not see me. The beautiful sea in the background looks like literally oil, no wind, beautiful temperature. Sort of taking notes and going through everything, but when you're dealing with walls which are this thick, you really have to make sure that things are done properly. So the idea is opening this up. This will become the main entrance to the house rather than that smaller door. Also, there is a different level from that space. Already we're dropping down 7 centimeters. The house is actually below the level of the patio, which is always a bad thing, because if you do have a downpour with rain or wherever the situation is, your house gets flooded, whatever, you can't get the water out. The house becomes a swimming pool, so always better to be above. So we have about 7 centimeters over there, and when we get to the bottom of the other end, we got 13 centimeters. So one of the first things that needs to be done after the plumbing and the electrics gets revised is to level the entire house with a very light cement fiber mix that brings us to an absolute 100% level. That also means that every one of these doors needs to be lifted. Again, look at the thickness of these walls just to get an idea of what we are talking about. So this one needs to be lifted, and obviously another joist needs to be put in. Same thing, it's happening over there. Then the new beautiful bathroom is going to be built in this area here with the shower and the cubicle and the double basin going across here. So quite a lot of work here happening, but I was very excited to spend some time here because the outside space, there's another bedroom over there, so as well lifting these up. And then one of the big thing about this property is the outside space. I mean, to have a house in the middle of Gallipoli with an outside space, hey, that's a super luxury. So we have level with the kitchen almost, this outside level. So this could be opened up to bring a huge amount of light. You can see how beautiful it is. We're actually at the end of November and it's so warm, about 20 degrees. So you could flood the house with a beautiful amount of light just by opening all of this up. And then this could be tiled to have a really fantastic Mediterranean patio outside. And then the stairs going up as well. At the moment, there's slabs of concrete. They could also be cladded with stone, redo the plaster. I can see, although a good refurbishment was done here, but a lot of things were done really on a very, very poor quality. And it's like bits of elements everywhere, bits of tiles here that got nothing to do with what's been happening, pieces of marble sticking out. And so really through this refurbishment is a matter of bringing everything tidy in together, and then probably redoing the plastering of all this area, redoing the plastering as well of this part of the house, which is part of the buildings. And then I would like to remodule all the rainwater, which at the moment is coming there into that corner, flooding the patio. It's coming over there, flooding the patio. It's coming over there, flooding the patio. It's coming over here, flooding the patio. So I think we could go with a nice copper pipe coming across here, wrapped around that chimney, which is no longer in use, but wrapped around, intercept that one, which you can go that way, and then drop just below this beautiful ridge here, come down there. This can be intercepted into that. So yes, it's going to be a little bit of a junction, but if it's done tastefully with nice pipes, then all you have is one pipe that you can just gently bring into where the water discharges. I always believe that reducing the amount of water that hits your roof terrace or it's any part of the exposed outside, which is beyond the water that already that roof terrace receives as a result of the rainfall, is always a good way of managing the maintenance of a property, because wherever the water lands it sits. And in fact, if I look at this bit of water area here where the water is landing, is actually lifted and broken everything up. So I think getting the water in one location is going to be very good. Together with this, loads of other changes. So this is the house we are talking about. It's got an amazing roof terrace as well when we get to this other level here, which you can entertain. This could become a really beautiful Mediterranean roof terrace. But you know, we're not too far from the water. So these beautiful stairs, which they'll be remade to make them comfortable to climb, take you to heaven, really. Oh my God. A beautiful sitting area perhaps over there. What I didn't mention is, but through that leveling as well, there'll be underfloor heating going into every single space of the house. So also adding a huge amount of comfort by adding the underfloor heating system. So yeah, I think I'm done here. So let's move on.
Qua praticamente tenevo 22. Poi visto che ne tirato poco in avanti, tipo correva pure fino a qua stesso, quello 6, però poi 6, tiri 6, ti rimane 23 pulito, quello frontino. Quello frontino. Ti rimane
In più sporge?
No,
Tenetorello?
oh. Ah, l'utorello 1,5.
1,5, quindi arriviamo a 24,5.
24,5. Sì.
24,5 di pedata.
Sì.
Beautiful sunshine, and one of the first things that we started before a big demolition starts and everything was to set up 2 sets of stairs outside that needed to be redone. Sometimes you think, oh, easy, I can just clad them, but it's not as simple as that. With 1 set of stairs, for example, we had an issue with a head height, where here really we couldn't come forward more than the amount that we have. So but just coming forward, the stairs were starting over there, coming forward is 50-60 centimeters, allow us to make the stairs a lot more comfortable, but at the same time it just changes the whole asset of the stairs. So they're totally getting rebuilt, as you can see. So once they get rebuilt all the way up, according to all the calculations that have been redone, then they can be cladded in stone and looking nice and comfortable all the way up there, rather than one step different from another. The other thing to keep in mind is when you're doing a refurbishment, here for example we are in the centro storico of Gallipoli, a small island, very tight little street, so you can't get here with a truck, you can't get here with a crane to drop things over the roof, so you've got to bring everything by hand, little trolley, bring things by hand, and then once you get here you need to go from the entrance through a courtyard, through tiny little stairs, and then bringing material up. So sometimes when people think, how much does it cost to do a refurbishment? Well, what would take, for example, half an hour to get with a truck and drop some blocks, in this particular case will take a whole day to deliver and bring upstairs block by hand. So sometimes those costs is also related to the level of difficulties, the location of the place, and sometimes people cut corners because of these difficulties, and that's not what I do. So you just have to make sure that you get people prepared to work at a certain level of a certain standard. This is when I talk about tight spaces. So this set of stairs, which a lot of time was spent, we had quite a bit of space at the back there, and the obvious thing would have been pulling those stairs back, but not possible because of the height that we have here. So pulling the stairs back would have been ideal in terms of making the steps a little softer, but the reality is then you would have got to this space here being up here as a result of starting back there. Yeah, and that would have meant hitting your head as you're coming up the stairs or coming down the stairs. So we've gone back to the original plan, but in doing so we're removing a lot of solid concrete that has been applied onto it. You see these steps here, they're so worn out that sometimes probably in the 60s or 70s they put on this massive chunk of concrete on to compensate. So all of that at each individual step needs to be removed, and then cleaning the step up before it gets cladded, and we're cladding it on the top and we're cladding it on the front. Now also a decision about cladding the front. Well, we are by the water, and the salt and the sea doesn't spare anyone. So when you look at this set of stairs, although they're in a covered area, by cladding them and then replastering the wall is going to give a very nice continuity to the stairs, and also zero maintenance forever until you love that floor anyway. So really, really nice. And what's going to happen here, this will be tiled in the same material with the stone going all the way up there, and then those stairs going all the way up again with an amazing sea view. They're all going to be cladded in the same stone. So it's all coming together. How was that? Well, every time you step on one of these sites, there's just so much. It's very much like a puzzle. You really need to make sure that all the pieces come together and they come together in the right order. Sometimes to make sure that that happens, you really need to make sure that you're dealing with somebody who has the knowledge to see forward. But that knowledge comes from many years of experience. So I'm privileged to be part of this project and to make sure that all these pieces are coming together to make this the real House of Dreams. I'll see you on the next one, but before you go, subscribe to the channel, and also you can become a member, because your generous contribution will go towards two causes which I love very much, which is plastic free and Volunteers Without Borders. So subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much for watching the video. Leave a comment below and I'll see you on the next one. But until then, do the most important thing. Stay safe wherever you are.